with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into The Breeze. I'm Harrison Arns running the board, and we have Haas, as always, the host of the show, and DP is back as well. So we got a full show ahead. We're going all the way up until 1 o'clock here before we throw it to Tom Stevens and Mike. So we got a full show here, guys. Appreciate you guys listening. And then, Haas, I'll throw it to you.
Thanks, Harrison. It was fun having you fill in for DP for a couple of weeks. And when we talk about our first segment, I have you in mind, and you'll see, because we're going to talk about the top 10 quarterbacks. There's some guys in there that you've been giving props that a lot of people don't. And last week, DP talked about Josh Allen. He hasn't done it. Everyone's talking about how great Josh Allen is, and with all the interceptions he's had the last couple of weeks and what he's done in the playoffs, DP mentioned that he's not the guy. So I'm like, we got to talk about the top quarterbacks. who are the top quarterbacks in the NFL? I keep hearing about Dak Prescott, a top 10 quarterback. Keep hearing about different people. Obviously, Russell Wilson's dropped off. So, DP, where is Josh Allen in your opinion as a top 10 quarterback?
Whenever you have these top 10 discussions, you have to set parameters for what it is exactly that you're trying to identify. Are you trying to say that, hey, if there's a quarterback draft today to play a game today, are they in the top 10? If you're drafting for the future of your franchise, of all the available quarterbacks, where do they fall? If you've got to win one game, does that fall within what you're talking about? And so for me, when you say top 10, you're saying top 10 now, like the way they're playing now, and the ability to trust. So if I had to win a game today, which quarterbacks would I take in the top 10 that I would take? I trust my eyes, but I also don't give credit for things that have not been accomplished yet. So if you're talking about somebody that's won 250 games versus somebody who's won 25, I would be deeply mistaken by choosing the one whose volume I cannot trust over time to win an important game. And an important game is defined by playoffs, play-in games, Super Bowls. That's still the definition for that for me. Now, and again, if we're talking about the future, that's a different list.
No. We're on the same
page. But if you're talking about if I have to win a game today and I get to pick 10 quarterbacks, I'm still going to take number 12 first. I'm going to take number 12 first. If I have to win one game today, the guy that I trust the most is still number 12. If I had to win a game today, I would trust that other number 12, that other dude in Lambeau, because of what they've done. Then you get into the interesting space that Patrick Mahomes, because he's played at that level, he's been in that space, you consider him. After that, you're really talking about flavor of the day. Like you're talking about flavor of the day. Like, what do you want to do and how you're going to win? If I'm playing in the cold, there's a certain group of quarterbacks I'm going to take. If I'm playing in an indoor, if I'm playing indoor on turf, Lamar Jackson goes to the top of the list because of his ability to move in that space. I'm not sure that I'm going to trust Joe Burrow because he took his team recently to the Super Bowl. And by that, I mean, I literally, he made plays to get his team to the Super Bowl. It's not like, I'm a little weary on Kirk Cousins because he's got one of the top 5 runners and top 5 receivers. So him being productive really shouldn't be that difficult. It shouldn't be that complicated. I stay away, like Tua, Herbert, Geno, Jalen, Josh. They're all in a pool of 5 that haven't proven that they can win big games. They're having a great run right now. But would I trust them with my mortgage money? The answer is no. I'll trust the veterans who know how to play in those situations and then move along. So Josh, for me, is out. Josh, quite frankly, I'll upset some people here. I put Josh in the Dak category.
Whoa.
I put Josh in the Dak category because neither one of them, with talent around them, have accomplished the mega success. Like they're not. Like they haven't. And so it doesn't mean they won't. But if I had to trust them today, Dak, Kirk, that's Dak, Kirk, and Josh go in the same category of quarterbacks for me. They're not. I don't trust them yet to do the things that are required to win the game of the day. That's just me.
Well, DP, I had to read your lips for about a minute and a half. I don't know if you could tell.
To sum it up real quick, he threw Josh Allen in the same category as Dak Prescott because he hasn't quite proven it yet.
They've accomplished the same not things. Look, I mean, forget about the dressing, the window dressing, and the narrative. But the reality is, Josh Allen had the best team last year, but he was outplayed in the most critical of moments by another dude who's higher on the list. Like when they've gone head to head, Brady, Rodgers, etc., have still outperformed in meaningful moments. I mean, think about it this way. I'm not sure that we're giving Jimmy Garoppolo enough credit.
Oh, no.
Look, hold on. You get your own personal bias out of the way. But you're talking about a dude who's put his team in Super Bowls and in Super Bowl contentions without having the elite players around him to carry the burden of what he needs to handle offensively and competed offensively in those meaningful games and those meaningful moments. Look, it's easy to say, well, listen, he made a bad throw that kept the 49ers from winning a Super Bowl, but count the 11 quality throws he made in that game. NFL Sunday elite throws he made in that game to make the game competitive in the first place.
If he's playing the Rams, he's always looking great. So I don't care about the interception.
He beat everybody in the NFC to get that team there. And look, you can't name all 5 receivers that he had to throw to get that team to Super Bowl because they weren't very good. Like they weren't. And compared to the other, would you compare them to Chiefs receivers? Would you compare them to what Kirk Cousins has now? Would you compare to what Josh Allen has now in Buffalo? Would you compare? No. So look, he showed up on those days. Everybody else, when Dak and Josh choked in those moments, Garoppolo got his team to the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl, and the others didn't. Like you can go through all the other. I'm about what do you do when it matters? Everybody's good when it's casual and you out there just stalking people. But what happens when you're being stalked and all eyes are on you and all you have to do is not fold? Those are quarterbacks who are in the same space until they prove that they should be put in that other category. They can't be. They can't be.
I had to go look because it's just trying to remember who's the most clutch, who's won it in the last 10, 12, 13 years that's still in the NFL. So there's Foles.
Yeah.
There's Mahomes.
Yep.
There's Russell Wilson.
Yep.
There's Brady and Matthew Stafford. That's the only 5 QBs that have won.
And are they playing at understand, they are at a 10 level and then they play their way down to the pack. Russell Wilson is playing himself down to the pack, right? We haven't seen that Russell Wilson in 18 months. So that's where that is. Foles was in a terrible situation, and quite frankly, look, he went toe-to-toe with the GOAT and said, I'm not scared of you. Give me my ring.
Yeah.
And then he made the plays for that Philadelphia team to win. Like, we're not talking about where, the defense balled out and he did it. No, Nick Foles said, you know what? I got this. I'll look you dead square in the eye. Give me my chip. Stafford, I think he's the biggest question mark for me.
Oh, I think we lost DP a little bit there. He'll probably join back in here in a bit. I think his connection went out just a little bit there. Because Haas, I can still see you fine.
So Stafford, if he's going to talk about him, he had a bunch of talent last year and arm strength, and finally it's my time. DP, you're back if you want to continue your thought.
Yeah, it's you have to consider all the metrics of it, all the things that play in the peripheral, who they played with, who they play for, right? That playing under that system, that's lightning in a bottle. That Stafford team was lightning in a bottle, right? They weren't playing at that level before that, and they're not playing at that level after that, right? So, and neither has Stafford. Foles hasn't played at that level since then. Just for that day, he was exceptional. But if you had to win a game today, a meaningful game, a playoff game, are you telling me that you take the guy who's never done it over the guy who's done it? I can't function that way.
Your audio is a little messed up, I think, unless it's my headphones.
He's sounding good to me right now.
Okay, so it's me. I'm sorry, man. We're having technical difficulties today.
No, don't trip. Don't trip.
Let me say this, DP. If I were to pick a quarterback for my team, the 49ers, this year, that's how I looked at it when I was making my top 10 list. So I'm going with Mahomes first, then Brady, then Allen. And then I had the same thoughts that you did. Well, what has everyone else done? Because they haven't done much. And so when I go through my list, I actually have Tua at number 4 because he's done stuff in college. I know it's different than NFL, but he's done stuff in college. His passer rating's 118. Mm-hmm. He when he's playing, the Dolphins are really, really strong. I look at how many interceptions that the quarterbacks have, the touchdowns that they have, can they make the clutch plays? What's the team built around? If it's for the 49ers, I need someone who's accurate, who's not going to mess the game up, who's going to get the ball down the field, make clutch third down plays. Okay, so Jimmy G is doing that this year. He's doing that after, he had shoulder surgery. I thought about that. Did I want to put him at 10? I didn't put him at 10, but he's actually doing it, and he's not turning the ball over as much now as he was before. He had a bad Denver game, fine. He just came back. He didn't throw for 6-7 months. So that's a big deal for a quarterback. Okay, but after Tua, and Harrison, I put Tua ahead of your guy. I put him ahead of Burrow. I know Burrow's been there. Burrow and Tua might have equal talent right now. I put Rodgers at 6. I don't see Rodgers as the same Rodgers right now. And technically, and okay, I left off Rodgers of QBs that have one quarterback, but I think that was like 13, 14 years ago. So I have Rodgers at 6. The one that is going to surprise people is I have Geno at 9. Because if you put Geno's stats, Geno's play, and change the name, you would put him in the top 10. Anyone else?
No, because there's still no longevity to it. There's still no longevity to what Geno's done. This is again, there's lightning in a bottle where folks capture the moment, and that's what Geno's doing. And again, it's a long journey for him, and give him credit for his ability to stick to it and to do that. But I'm not putting, like, if you're going to count college, and you got to put Jalen Hurts back at the top of the conversation, because he and Tua are 1A and 1B in that Alabama-Oklahoma situation for what they did. You can consider all that. But you also have to give Joe Burrow credit for that because of what he did at LSU. You can do those things, right? But still not say that winning in college doesn't equate to winning playoff games in the NFL until they do. Until they do. So then you have to wait. Tua is still a wait and see for me. Like, wait and see. Because he now has Patrick Mahomes' weapon number 1A to go along with guys who were also in the receiver factories. So we understand what that is. We don't know if their run game is going to help him as much as he's going to need for them to when it matters. How's he going to play in cold weather in December and January? It's going to play out.
Have a running game. They have a 1-2 running game with
but everybody has them now. What happens when you have to play playoff football and each of those carries matter? Like, all of it is in play. Aaron Rodgers, for what he's doing, I mean, look, you took away the best receiver in football from him. You got to give the guy a little bit of credit. Just he's throwing to the JV receivers and still trying to compete in the black and blue division. So, it's not going to be that easy for him. I just don't think, in truth, I don't think the quarterback play is very good right now. So doing a top 10, a top 5 is tough. A top 10 is damn near impossible because you don't have guys who are playing across the league at an elite level. It's just not happening. Brady's not playing at an elite level. Right now, I mean, to think about it, the guys who are playing that you would trust in full to get your team to the Super Bowl and win it based on his play and his play alone, there's one dude. There's one guy. Everybody else, you're just going, okay. And look, I'm not sure we trust Mahomes to be good enough to get this Chiefs team without Tyreek Hill to winning a Super Bowl. We kind of think he's going to get there. We're not sure if he's going to get there. We certainly wouldn't be surprised if he didn't get there because everybody's looking at Joe. Like, Joe Burrow was like, well, I don't care. Like, I looked him dead square in the eye and took his chip. So I just think it's a weird time. If you did this for receivers, it's super difficult. If you did this for running backs, I'm not sure that you have 10 running backs that are playing at an elite level. You could do it for tight ends. I'm not sure you could do it for offensive linemen. Because of style of play, I'm not sure you could do it for defensive backs. You might be able to do
a good one.
Yeah, right? Like, it's a weird time in the NFL in that everybody's playing at a decent level and a good level, but do we have an elite team? No. There's not one elite team in the NFL this year. There are a lot of really good teams in the NFL, but do we know that any of the 1-loss teams or 2-loss teams are going to be playing in those final 2 weekends? The answer is no.
Well said. And real quick, we do got to get to break, but Haas, I'll kind of let you bounce off that and respond before we get to our break here.
So, one, for the Dolphins, I think they might have a Cleveland Brown type running game, and they do have experience because Mostert dominated in the playoffs, and Jeff Wilson has dominated in the playoffs. So the Dolphins taking the 49ers' weapons and putting it on their team. Now they have a strong defense with Howard. They have a good line, and then they have the receivers with all that speed. So I just, for me, the fit with Tua is why I think Tua is a great quarterback. You can obviously say, fine, then put Aaron Rodgers there and they'd be a lot better. You could put Mahomes, Brady there, they'd be a lot better. You could put Allen there, they'd be a lot better. But what I was looking at for was, if it was my own team, I want a guy that I could trust that isn't going to just burn the house down, and that's why I had Tua there. I do have Rodgers, Lamar, Herbert, Geno, and Hurts to round out my top 10. It is a weird year. You go look at games and you go and try to pick teams, and the Lions go beat the Packers when the Packers must win. And just there's these crazy games every week where you're just like, what? And so nothing is unbelievable anymore with Washington beating Philly. I've been saying for 4 or 5 weeks, Philly's not a strong team. Everyone just keeps talking about how great Philly is, how great the Giants are, how great the Cowboys are, and I don't think they're that good. I think the NFC is going to be played through San Francisco and Tampa Bay. and I've been saying that for a while. And for the NFC and AFC, I would love to see a rematch with Mahomes. Not a rematch. I'd love to see Mahomes play against Tyreek in the AFC Championship. That would be really cool to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. With that being said, though, we are up to our break. This is The Breeze. I'm Harrison Arns running the board, and we got the host of the show, Haas, already here, and then Derek Pearson as well. We will be back right after this break.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, call 988 for free, confidential, and compassionate support. On July 16th, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is transitioning to 988. There is hope. For 24/7 support, call, text, or chat 988.
Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money. But like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green. Helping it thrive. Making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at outdoornebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You're listening to The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back to The Breeze. I am Harrison Arns running the board, and we have the host of the show, Haas, with us as well. And, of course, DP is back with us at the same time. So it's good to have the full crew back here for The Breeze. We kind of just broke down trying to figure out the top 10 NFL quarterbacks, and a little bit of difference. It felt like DP's looking more at the body and the core of that quarterback's career, and Haas more just the present at the time. Who do we want right now? Justin Fields right now, he's kind of a guy lightning in the bottle, like DP said. I'm kind of with him there. I don't think he's top 10 quarterback yet. He's still got to prove a lot of things that he can win, at all, really. And the defense isn't helping him out by any means. But real quick before I throw it back to you, Haas, I do got to defend Aaron Rodgers. I do agree with DP there. He's still a top 5 quarterback. His receivers, they can't hold the line on routes. They constantly get bullied to the sideline. So when Rodgers wants to hit that back shoulder throw, he can't. The guy's pushed all the way over to the boundary, and it just becomes that difficult for him. So, I even saw Alan Lazard completely give up on a play where Aaron Rodgers was throwing it to him, and Lazard stops his route completely. So, there's a lot of problems going on right now with the Packers, but I'll defend Rodgers. I don't think it's all on his shoulders. That's for certain.
Don't get it twisted. I'll take Aaron Rodgers, and he can run the 49ers any day. I could see that happening next season if Brady's not there. But you know what? Before we go and talk about the greatest females on the mic of all time, I want to ask this. With how Justin Fields is running, who's number one as a running quarterback? And I'm not trying to disrespect them and label them as a running quarterback, but I'm a 49er guy. Kaepernick with his playoff game against the Packers. We have Vic, who I grew up with and watched him growing up. And then, what, DV? With the run?
There's one, and then there's everybody else.
Okay.
Like seven's the dude. Like seven's the dude. Like seven's the dude. Like it's like there aren't that many electric football players who changed the way a position is played and even thought about. Changed the way that defenses had to line up and consider and be accountable for that 11th offensive player, and that even when they did so, they couldn't figure out how to deal with him. So put him in that space. Lamar's in that space for 2 years. For 2 years, RG3 was in that space. We have to go back to the old school with Bobby Douglas, Sir Francis Tarkenton. There were guys, Steve Young in that space. You have to go back to the Alabama quarterbacks, who all ran the wishbone, and then they got to the NFL and had to tuck it away and stop doing more of that. So
Tommy Frazier.
Yeah. Well, Tommy's in the conversation for best college quarterback ever. He's in the conversation. I wish that it had transferred to the higher level. But yeah, when it comes to having quarterbacks put their foot in the ground, there are guys. I go back. I'm old enough that there are guys like Conrad Holloway and Julius Caesar Watts and Cornelius Green at Ohio State. There are guys. Warren Moon when he was at Washington, guys who put their foot in the ground and changed the way people defended them because they could also throw the ball as well. But when you talk about running quarterbacks, mobile quarterbacks, Michael Vick's the guy that everybody else will be measured to for a very long period of time.
The Barry Sanders quickness, obviously. He was a punt returner with the strongest arm when you throw the ball. Even when he came back, he'd throw it to Deshaun and just gun it. And he was a different Vic when he came back. But hey, don't discount Kaepernick.
Cap's in that space. Joe Theismann's in that space. You have to give Joe Theismann credit because Joe Theismann ran the wishbone at Notre Dame, was a running quarterback, even returned punts in the NFL. In fact, his first year with Washington, first year and a half, that's how he got on the field. He actually returned punts for George Allen. So there's a very short list of quarterbacks who return punts in the NFL. Joe Theismann's on that list.
And so the point of all this was our Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson getting to the Vic level, and it's not,
Lamar's in the conversation. Justin's just getting started.
Well, let me tell you this, DP. This stats blows my mind. So there's only been one player in the NFL that's clocked over 20 miles an hour speed, and it's Justin Fields twice. He's already the fastest player in the NFL right now, which is it's
as a quarterback.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
I'll pull it up.
I don't believe it. No,
he's an eyes guy. Like when you watch Vic.
No. Michael Vick is the fastest quarterback to ever play in the NFL, and anybody that says otherwise has been sipping Kool-Aid that's been sitting out too long.
Oh, I won't say he's faster than Michael Vick because we just didn't have the technology at the time. I have no idea how fast Vick was, but
no one does. Usain Bolt might.
Yeah, like Michael Vick's in the elite sprint all time of all NFL players. That includes Deion, Darrell Green, Ron Brown. Like there's an elite Willie Gault. He's in that final 10, Tyreek Hill, of sprinters who were elite world-class sprinters who happen to be really good at football.
Willie Beeman wishes he could be Michael Vick, okay?
Right? Like that's all true. All statement of fact. All facts.
Right. We gotta appease our wrestling fans, and so what brought on having the greatest female on the mic of all time was my wife was in the other room last week, and I'm often watching wrestling from previous decades, and she's like, "Was that live? What was that? Was that live?" And that was when Saraya came back, Paige Saraya, whichever name you want to use. She came back and had the emotional promo that she had with Dr. DMD Britt Baker last Wednesday. And it reminded me how great she was on the mic. And when we went from Divas champions, AJ Lee being a champion for 3 years from 2012 to 2014, and then Paige coming the night after WrestleMania 30 and coming in and just winning the belt, that started the revolution. It was a shocking win because AJ Lee was so dominant. And then after that, we would just hear so many great promos from Paige. So for me, going back, looking in history, who are the greatest females on the mic? And I know DP is going to ask the parameter. This will be any female. So it's not just wrestlers. And before you go and as we say every time, you're the encyclopedia or Google, I wanted to get my props because I have people on there that you would probably be like, Haas didn't put her on there. So
okay,
I'll say mine real quick. There are some young cats in there just because that's most of my wrestling. So I made a top 6 with Sasha Banks being number 6. I just love the way Sasha Banks talks on the mic, the mannerism she has. She's a great bad guy. She's a great heel. Sasha Banks has to be in the top 6 for me. Number 5, excuse me.
Just 2 words, man. Just 2 words. Set it off, man. Set it off.
I can't scream it and be annoying like she did it, but excuse me.
Right.
That's all that needs to be said. Vicky Guerrero, she gets number 5.
Yes.
Number 4, I talked about her, Paige. She gets to be there. Number 4. I believe she was the catalyst to change women's wrestling from divas to actual wrestlers. But the greatest female wrestler since then, and probably of all time, would be number 3 in my opinion. The greatest heel, the greatest bad guy, the person who had the role model growing up, and that's Charlotte Flair. I didn't have her at 1 or 2. I have her at 3.
Okay.
I think you're going to guess who number 1 is just because of who I like. I think you're going to guess who number 1 is. I think many storylines were created and altered and marinated because of number 1. But number 2, it's a combination of Dusty and a combination of the Macho Man. And people my age didn't really get to see her that much, and that's Sherry Martel. And I could probably pause and let you talk about her, because I went and listened to 5 different promos of her, and with the Harlem Heat, with whichever group she was with, she was always so strong.
She didn't care. She didn't care who she was with. She put it down.
And then, fine, number 1, it's the baddest woman in wrestling. It is the whatever you want it to be, the billionaire princess, the boss's daughter, Triple H's wife. No, it's just Stephanie McMahon. It's Stephanie McMahon. The hardest slapper in wrestling, with her words, with her hand. Ask Bautista what it feels like to be slapped by her. Ask the Big Show what it's like to be slapped by her. The Yes movement wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for her calling that guy a B+ player. So her words on the mic, it's Stephanie McMahon, number 1.
I'll go back in history a little, in that the best women's wrestler ever, from a technical standpoint, for how wrestling is performed today, the Game Changer, was also elite on the microphone, and her time as a heel set her apart, in that Amy Dumas, Lita, the best wrestler and the best heel ever. I thought she was a better heel. Her run as a heel was actually better than any of Stephanie's runs as heels. Stephanie had pop because of power, but when it came to what was being said in the ring about other wrestlers, she and the most underrated heel in women's wrestling, AJ Lee, who her time as a heel, she went after people personally. Like, she went after her, shredding the twins verbally was just strong arm, strong game, powerful stuff. Underrated mic skills because she was just such a physical phenom and had presence. But when Trish Stratus laid it down, verbally. Again, Stratusfaction guaranteed. You talk about the power of setting off a room with those 2 words. Like, she'd shred her opponent, then she'd tell you, and why? Because Stratusfaction guaranteed. You just went, okay, everybody, I'm full in. You can go through some of the folks who missed out. Deborah, who was really good on the mic. It was kind of subjugated because of she was involved with the power brokers at the time, and Vince McMahon and the Horsemen and all of that place. Underrated in this thing and forgotten when it comes to valets and people who went toe to toe. Look, I don't know any other woman in wrestling that went toe to toe verbally with Dusty Rhodes, but Baby Doll got it done. Baby Doll got it done, whether it was with the Horsemen, whether it was with Tully Blanchard, whether it was with Jimmy Garvin, it didn't really matter. But Baby Doll went toe to toe when it came to putting the verbiage in. And then from that same era, this lady had presence and power. And I want to say this as simple as I can say it. Woman was as good on the microphone in just simply lacing people with, you aren't man enough to have me hold your hand. Like, she was just, there are those, and then the 2 queens of it. Stephanie's number 1, and there's no debate about it. Stephanie's as good on the microphone as anybody. But nobody in the history of wrestling said less and said more than Elizabeth. Like, nobody carried where people hung on you can think of 20 words, and each of them had meaning, purpose, value, and changed a storyline and the direction of wrestling, like Elizabeth. So that's my group of 10.
Right on time, because we are up to our break here. This is The Breeze. I'm Harrison Arns running the board, and we got the host of the show, Haas, with us. And, of course, as always, DP joined him as well. We will be back at 93.7 The Ticket right after this break.
You know, the year has been a great year for Aspen Builders. We have had many repeat customers, and we worked with a lot of new people building their dream home.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, and they've built neighborhoods in and around Lincoln for over 25 years.
It's amazing when you go through the building process. Okay, what do I need in this home? I need the 4 bedrooms. I need the walkout basement, or I need the big yard. It's fun to find that perfect lot, design the home, get everything that we need, and then we add those want things. We add the gourmet kitchen. We add the big walk-in pantry. What we try to do is balance a budget with things that you really need in the home. Get items included in this home that you won't find just in any home anymore. So in the end, you've got the perfect place.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket. Every Saturday morning now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money, but like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de The Alzheimer's Association y The Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into the last segment of The Breeze. I'm Harrison Arns running the board, and of course the host, Haas, and Derek Pearson with them as well. Last segment here, I believe we got some picks coming up. So Haas, I'll throw it to you as we kind of wrap this thing up here.
So we're going to do our Haas Boss guarantee, and I want to hear from Harrison also, since you've given us so much wisdom over the last couple of weeks. But before we do that, going over some of the texts I sent you, DP, how cool would it be for the Dodgers, who didn't tender Bellinger, who have an opening in their outfield, to go and get Aaron Judge?
No. Not cool at all. Why? Why? Here's what I don't understand. Here's what I don't. Here's what I want to understand about. Why would a team that has the talent that it already has, who's competing at the highest level, why would you need or want Aaron Judge? Like what purpose does that serve? To me, it's killing a gnat with a steamroller. Like, why would you? What glory would you get in saying, "Oh, well, we simply just we'll spend more money than everybody. That's why we're great." No, that's not. Look, I have way more respect for the Astros, who do it with some unknown, with a bunch of players that you don't know, right? Who players who don't get all the pub, that don't get all the branding and marketing. You don't see Alvarez in 38 commercials throughout the course of the thing. You don't see Bregman in 22 ads and on every billboard. You don't even know three of the guys who threw gems throughout the course of the playoffs. To me, there's some beauty to the artistic putting together of teams through chemistry rather than through finance. Like, I just don't see the point. We've coached against teams that had all of the elite players, and then they came through like, look at us. Aren't we great? Well, listen, my guys we fought with street level dudes who competed, and when they accomplished something great, we took pride in the fact that there was work put into it rather than just money being spent and resources sent after it. I just don't see the point or the need. Like, what benefit does it, like, it's the LA and New York thing. Let's go and pay for name brand rather than substance. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I've never been a fan of teams that are built that way.
Well, the Dodgers just shed $100 million in payroll, so they could go add something. And I don't know if it's ever happened to sign another team's reigning MVP and reigning Cy Young. I don't think it's ever happened.
I don't know. There's nothing as a baseball purist. There's nothing appealing about it to me. There's literally nothing appealing about it to me, at all. Like, okay, so you wrote checks, and somehow we're supposed to just go, ooh, you guys are amazing. No, you're the richest and elite, and I don't care. Like, I'm going to root against them even harder if they do this. Like, I don't care. I don't find it appealing in the least. Like, there's nothing about it to me that makes me want to applaud and go, yay, that's good for baseball, or that's good for the game. No, it's not. It's just not.
If the objective is to kill that gnat, I don't care if a steamroller's used. I don't care if a paper's used. I don't care if a spray's used. Kill the gnat, then you do whatever's necessary to do it. So,
but the response to that is, bruh. Like, you look at that person and go, bruh, really? Really? Really?
Hey, 111 wins isn't enough. The Dodgers need 120.
No, because when it mattered, you weren't connected enough as a team to beat a group of guys that have fought.
No. It's
their
top three are.
You got handled. You got handled by some dudes that paid less money to do what you do. That's just bad business. That's bad business.
Kershaw.
It's bad baseball. Don't care. Guess what? You spent all that money and it didn't happen. Harrison, let him know.
Top three arms are injured. That's what happens. That's what happens when your top three
arms
are injured.
Let him know. Did not win. You got beat.
They got beat. But we got to get to our picks here. So we got to set the table here for Tom and Mike, as they got 2 hours ahead. So we got to get to our picks here. As Haas has called it out, I'm on a roll here. So I'm feeling pretty good about mine. But Haas, I'll let you start it off.
I don't know which side of DPL appease, but I have the Commanders with Heineke. You must trust him, and they're not favored by that much against the Texans. I don't know why. I have Washington winning that game. Hoss boss guarantee.
I was in the same pool with you. I had the Commanders over the Texans today. I thought it would be a close game, but I think Washington gets to 7-5, and then they could have some fun in division.
Yep, and with that being said, my pick is going to be the Vikings are going to beat the Cowboys. Vegas knows that everyone is just waiting for the Vikings to lose. They think they're frauds. They're not frauds. Justin Jefferson's probably the best wide receiver in the NFL, if not at least in the conversation. Vegas knows people are waiting them to lose. They're not going to lose today. Cowboys take an L, take the money line. The Vikings aren't even favored in this one, so that's free money. Take it.
Get him, Harrison. Get him. Get him.
That being said, though, that is the end of the show, The Breeze. I'm Harrison Arns, of course, the host, Haas and DP as well. Appreciate you guys listening. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, but we still have 2 hours with Mike and Tom Stevens as they're going to set it up before the Denver Broncos game. Appreciate you guys listening. Have a great rest of your day.